All right, hey everyone, it's Josh at Prehired, and today I've got Tom in Minneapolis. He has been through the program. He's been hired at a pretty cool company. Tom, go ahead and start it off by telling everyone a little bit about your background, man.
Yeah, so before I started pre-hired, I was a warehouse supervisor at a beverage distribution company. And kind of my whole life, I've been in the whole like warehouse industry, and I've been in management roles, but I didn't really have like a clear path or career path that I was going for. I was just kind of hopping around like, all right, place pays more money. This place pays more money. I'll try this out. But I didn't really have like a career path or something that I wanted to pursue. However, I did kind of get a taste of sales about a year ago. Well, a little bit more than that. I did have some sales experience for an essential oils company, which I love, but it was kind of more person-to-person sales. And then I ended up kind of being scammed into a multi-level marketing scheme for life insurance. And I got a taste of sales there, and it turned out being completely different than what I thought it would be. But I knew you could make a lot of money, so that was kind of a big motivator for me. And after that experience, I kind of had to go back to work because it was 100% commission, and I lost a lot of money. And so I just kind of went back into doing what I was doing before, which was management. And then I ended up being at that warehouse supervisor job. But I kind of always had it on the back end, like, hey, I want to do something in sales. I just don't know what. I want to make more money. I just couldn't find where to start, which is then how I discovered Pre-Hired from a Facebook ad. So.
And you found us. And what was going through your head when you saw what we're doing and you were learning about the tech industry and the sales opportunities there?
Yeah, so I was just kind of scrolling through Facebook, and then I see this ad from Pre-Hired say, do you want to make 100,000 plus, a year? So I was like, well, why not read it? Like, I could at least open it and see what it's all about. And then as I started reading, I was like, software sales. And I already knew that, sales, you can generate a lot of money. And then now I just, for the first time, I heard about software sales, and I kind of, went back to thinking of when I was managing a warehouse for a fulfillment center. I actually had people call me for like Epicor software, which is an ERP system. And they were telling me like, hey, it's 50,000 to get this implemented in your company. And I was thinking to myself even back then, like, this dude's in sales and he's selling a $50,000 software. He's got to have some pretty big commissions. So kind of thinking back at that and then reading more about Pre-Hired, I realized like, okay, well, this is probably legit. But of course, it is a Facebook ad randomly popping up on my computer. And so I definitely had my reservations and concerns, especially kind of being the type of guy that, has went into like multi-level marketing kind of scams before in the past as well. Yeah, I mean, after seeing the testimonials and just reading more about it and then going on, LinkedIn and seeing that people are actually working here and people actually took the course and have now, sales jobs in different software companies, it kind of let me realize, like, I think this is the real deal. I just got to jump in and do it. So.
Yeah. And Tom, that's one thing I like about you, dude, is as other people have had similar experiences yourself, like because the worst fear I think we all have is we lose money on something that didn't do what we thought it was going to do. Like our expectations of what a purchase doesn't align with reality later. And that's our worst fears. And the fact that you've already had a bad experience, most people let that affect their future decision-making. They're like, okay, no, because this one experience was bad, now every other opportunity that sounds like a good opportunity, I'm going to be very like hesitant about. I'm not going to really consider it. I'm going to be very like, just maybe you won't be shocked about some of the stuff that we get every day from people. Like, and like at this point, I was like, we're the largest sales boot camp in the country right now. So this is definitely not a scam anymore. Like, I can understand like whenever people found this when we first launched, but now it's kind of like, just do some research and you'll see really quickly. So I love that you didn't let that hold you back. You're like, all right, I'm hesitant because I'm not going to be gullible, but let me just do the research. And then you're bam, like, wow, this is for real. I need to at least talk to these folks. So that led you to booking a call with us, and you obviously signed up. You're like, I'm going to do this. So what was the course like for you going through the program? And what was it? Easy, difficult? What were you specifically expecting? What did you like? Just share something about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was really straightforward to me when I first started the course. I liked that it was broken down into different modules. I like that I could do it on my own time, because I do work a full-time job, and sometimes I can work 12 hours or more at that job. So there's days I come back home and I don't even want to, do it at all, don't study. But then there's other days where it's like, all right, I'm going to stay up late and do what I got to do. So it took me like a month to complete the full course. But yeah, I mean, I liked everything that was in there. I really like the part about kind of showing you the different tools and software that you can use for sales. Just setting up the whole like email sequencing and being able to like grab people's emails using Interseller and stuff like that. I mean, that whole process to me was like, it was fun. It was like, hey, I'm kind of hunting, basically what you're going to be doing as a SDR or BDR anyways, but I'm hunting for these emails, these contacts, and then I'm reaching out to them by researching them and, sending out these personalized emails. And then when you do get a reply, it's kind of like a little bit of an adrenaline rush, like, ooh, it worked, let's see how much further we can go with that. So that was kind of my favorite part about it. But in general, just honestly, like a lot of the stuff that was said in there, I used like your sales is clarity in my interviews, that whole entire little spiel about sales is clarity. I kid you not, like that works so well. When you say that whole spiel, they're just like looking at you like, wow, that makes sense. And I'm like, yep, I know everything about sales. So, no, it was a great course.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned. It's funny because a lot of folks going through the program mention exactly the first thing that you said. Everyone loves the tools because and it's, to me, I guess I've been doing this for so long. I'm like, oh, the tools. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're cool, but like, they're not my favorite part, out of all the stuff I created, but it's probably because I've been using them for so long and using artificial intelligence and all this stuff is like, I mean, we've been studying this for a long time, but I guess for people coming from other industries, that's like the biggest thing that's different because that you need scripts and you need templates. And we provide really great ones, but they're always like blown away by like, oh my gosh, like I've been doing, it's like if you've been in a previous sales job and you come in tech, it's like, holy crap, I've been building houses with a hammer and nails. And now I've got like a massive like dump truck. I've got power tools. I've got like ladders. I don't have to like scale the house. Like we've got all these things to make the job easier and more efficient. And you make more profit too when you're building houses with the best tools, right? If you're a builder, I don't know why I'm relating this to building houses, probably because there's a new house being built right down the road. And says I'm just watching, which is, by the way, if you've never seen a house get built like day after day, week after week, like the different layers that go up in the foundation, it's really cool. It's a good illustration for a lot of things. But I love that, you mentioned the tools, but then you're like, the mindset stuff. Like, so this is stuff that a lot of folks pass over, and I don't really like getting into motivational stuff because I feel like there are so many people out there like hoorah, like go get the day, like all this stuff. And if you want to listen to that kind of stuff, you listen to Tony Robbins and stuff because he's great. Like do that. But that's not what we're doing here. I mean, you've got to be motivated, but that's basically, you probably remember there's like literally 5 minutes in the program. Like, listen, you got to have a good attitude. You've got to be motivated because if you're not gonna do well at this. So here's a couple things you can do, but that was it. Like, then it was like, but then one thing is the mindset as like understanding your role in the sales process, understanding how it all works. And then in like the philosophy behind sales, it's not always be closing. It's always be clarifying, always be helping. So I love that you said like, that was like, I loved it. It just light bulb went off my head. It just made sense. And then when I share it with the sales manager, it's like, wow, this guy gets how everything works. And it's a great way of just like showing that you're helping people. It's not that oh man, I'm not going to go because I'm going to start training if I keep on going. Anyways, we don't have enough time for that. So dude, all right. Obviously, you loved it. And you mentioned that when you were interviewing, the stuff you were learning, not only did you learn how to do the job, but you're actually able to show managers in your interview that you can do this job better than others. So what was that like for you going out using this stuff to get an interview and to get job offers?
Yeah. So, using the email sequencing and Interseller and all that, I was able to, first of all, use the customer profile, ideal customer profile. I built that. So I kind of had all my thoughts organized on who I'm going to contact, what industry and all that. And then once I started reaching out, then I started, grabbing emails, using Interseller, reading about companies, looking at different jobs. I mean, using Angel List was huge. That's actually where I found this particular job. LinkedIn Navigator, I did have a lot of interviews from there as well. With that, I basically sent out a bunch of emails. At first, I was kind of really hot right off the bat, and I was like, all right, I'm going to do this, spend a lot of time, personalize them, and I got a lot of different responses back in the first couple weeks, and I actually ended up going on vacation for about a week as soon as I sent out my first sequence. And so I was interviewing at one company like right off the bat, and then there was a second company, and I think even a third one. But what happened was that first one, after I went through that first interview, they liked me, but they didn't they didn't think I was fully qualified, I guess. The second one, I kind of just backed out myself because I read more about the company and I realized I didn't want to work there. But overall, I did have a few other interviews, and I would get to like a first interview and even a second interview, and then it would kind of fall through after that. So after that first couple weeks of experience, I got a little cocky because I felt like, okay, I'm getting a lot of interviews, and then I started just kind of not really personalizing my emails as much, and I kind of started sending out just a bunch of emails to a bunch of jobs, not personalized, not really focusing on who I'm sending it to. And then that's when Andrew contacted me, and he's like, hey, you need to work on this a little bit. There's not enough personalization. You're sending this to the wrong people. Your numbers are looking lower than they should be.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, Tom, I remember because we're always checking the data since we're sharing these sales tools with you and the other folks in the program. And it's like I noticed like after I think it was just a week or two, I was like, wait a minute, Tom's number. Yeah, I remember Tom's numbers were good or okay, like as far as scheduling interviews. But then, yeah, you didn't get an offer from the first couple. So I made a note to Andrew in our CRM. I was like, hey, make sure that if he gets any other interview issues, you need to talk to him about interviewing because there may be something he needs to fix that he's doing in the interview process, or maybe he's not fully prepared. So I remember saying that. And then later, Andrew's like, dude, his numbers have gone like out of whack this week, so there's something wrong. So he's going to meet with you. So I remember that conversation with Andrew, and that I just want to make that point because it's math, not magic. So whenever we see numbers that don't add up, and we see the numbers because you're using the tools we're giving you for free, we know there's like that's not normal. We need to book a meeting and go through it and see what it was. And so Andrew's able to meet with you and was able to talk through. Okay, yeah, you weren't targeting the right people. The message wasn't aligned. You weren't going and taking the time to doing this. And then you were like, then he talked to you about that a little bit on the interviews. And then once you guys met, how did that change for you? Like how was that after you guys met and you got that straightened out?
Well, I met with him a couple of times. So before even that meeting, I did have some interviews with some companies, and I actually met with him right before, like a day before those two interviews. And he really helped me out there. We went through a cold call together, went through a discovery call. He didn't even really know the industry that I was interviewing for, but he still asked all the right questions and did his best. And it was super helpful just getting that practice in. And like, if you want to nail these interviews, like you need to practice is what I realized. I think a lot of my problem was that I did not practice these interviews enough, especially in the beginning. And if I would have maybe reached out to Andrew earlier, I would have done a lot better with that. But then the second time, yeah, he reached out to me. I went through, I knew what I had to do. It's not like I didn't learn all this in the course already, but him just kind of reminding me like, hey, Tom, you're jumping off track. Let's get you back aligned with what we're supposed to be doing. That same week, I ended up getting like 3 responses. I had another interview, but that's also the same week where I ended up accepting the job offer for the job that I'm currently going to be working at. So
awesome. So and tell us, yeah. So we were able to meet with you, get that sorted. You got the job. You got the job offer. Man, so I love how you're like. I love that we're able to talk about your story and just be completely real. It's like, okay, things were going well, but then you hit a roadblock. Like it wasn't like you had to put in the work, like, and you couldn't slack off. But when you follow the system, it works. And then you got the job you really wanted. Like the last thing I want to, which by the way, go ahead and give a little blurb. Like what's the company, what do they do? What are you going to be doing there?
Yeah, so I'll be working at Next Request. It's a public records management system that they sell to local and state governments. It is a remote position, which is just what I wanted. They're out of San Francisco. And, their whole mission is to just kind of create better transparency between governments and people and give access to public records to so.
All right. That's All right, dude. So last thing before we end here, I think there's a blip in my connection, so but I'm back. Last thing I want to ask you, man, is we've got a ton of people that have been following us for a long, long time. They're probably comfortable or they're comfortable but not happy of where they're at. But you know how it is. It's like the fear of change is not yet greater than the fear of staying the same of where they're at. So maybe they're kind of at that threshold. They've been following us. They want to make a change. They're just nervous to do that. What would you say to someone on the fence about like checking out pre-hired and then also looking into software sales? And what's your advice to that type of person listening right now?
Yeah, I mean, I was in the same shoes. I was on the fence. However, I knew I needed to make a change in my life. I wanted to make more money. I knew I wanted to be in a more, professional industry. I wanted to be in a more growing industry. And you just got to do it. This is really what it comes down to. You just got to do it. You know, I've talked to a few people already who have been interested, and they've contacted me and said, Tom, we're interested in the program. What have you learned? What has it helped you with? Did you get the job? And I'm just like, absolutely. I mean, I got plenty of interviews, and now people that have contacted me, I'm like, yeah, I got a job. Like, it works. You just got to follow the system. And, I'm not going to lie, myself, I didn't even fully follow the system. Like, I could have followed it way more to the T. I'm kind of that guy where, like, I found some jobs I really liked in the beginning. This job actually was one of them. And I was just kind of like, I'm going to get this particular job. Like, I want this job. And so I kind of slowed down my whole outreach for looking for other jobs because I was so focused on, like, I want to get this one. And in the end, I did get this job. It took like 5 interviews and a 30, 60, 90-day plan and all these other things. So it was a lot of work, but I did get that job. But, if I would have followed the system more to the T, like you guys said, reaching out to a certain amount of people, doing the research, personalizing those emails, I probably would have had way more offers and even better results than what I got. That being said, I didn't follow it all the way and I still got results. So the program does work. You are going to learn everything you need to know to do the job. And you have great support. That's the one big thing I would say. Use the support you have. Contact Andrew, Josh, Lyell, whoever else is working there, and just use that support system. Help them with your interviewing. Have them help you with your outreach, and it's going to work, man.
Tom, thanks for sharing your story. That was awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing you checking in with us in a few months after you're at your new job and sharing all the wins and you crushing quota there. So thanks, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh.